What's up, guys? How we doing? How we doing? So today is the 24th. So it's time to do the third and final part of the 3 episode series on my divorce. The first part was April 1st, 1 year anniversary of being a single parent. The second one is April 12th, worst day of my life, and this one will be April 24th, the end of a chapter. And I've not been looking forward to making this video. I know I don't have to, but I'm already this far in. I feel like I should. But I've just been trying to work up the courage to talk about it all day because as shitty as those first two parts are, you got a quick summary of everything in the letting go video if you want to check that out, or go watch those parts and then come back. But this is where not only do I start mentally enduring a lot, but where Persephone becomes a victim a little bit. And out of all the details in the letting go video, around this part's probably where I left out the most details. So this video is probably going to be longer. Keep in mind, as always, this is court documented shit. This is proven shit. So everything I'm saying here is factual, and I can prove it. So in the first video, I talked about, my wife disappearing on April 1st for 10 days. In that meantime, I found out she was cheating on me with a tweaker at a hotel room. On the 10th, she wanted to come and get Persephone and take her to that hotel room, and I wouldn't let her. And on the 11th, she came back with the police. They said that they couldn't take her because this is where we lived, and unless I was a danger, then she could go get a protective order and have her forcibly removed. And so that's what she did on the 12th, and lied to get it. And apparently you need no evidence to get one. And when I gave her the baby, she literally said you could pick her up next week, and the cop had to explain to her what she just did because she had no idea. And so in my last video, I talked about from the 12th to the 24th how miserable that was, and how I stayed at my cousin's, and the 24th is the day that you go to court to prove the protective order true, but not actually. They just ask her, do you want to keep it up or not? If she says yes, then you go to trial in 5 weeks and prove it untrue, which I knew I could prove it untrue. I had a lawyer, I had all the evidence in the world against her, but it's just a matter of, what is she going to do? So the 24th, we go to court. I'm scared shitless. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see my daughter, if I'm going to have to go through 5 more weeks of this bullshit, or what's up. But I know it's the 24th. I know rent is due in a week, and I'm just in agony. And she ended up dropping it. And told the judge, she tried framing it as if I was an absent father. It was so messed up. Like she, because he asked, who has her now? And she said, me. I've had her for the last 2 weeks. And just the way she said it was like, yeah, I've been the main one taking care of her. But this was a good thing. She was dropping it. Let her have her moment, right? So we get outside of the courthouse. Me and Ariana, for the first time since she has left, actually have a conversation in person. And she talks about how bad Persephone was, and how she just missed me the whole time, and she would get so angry and mad, and she didn't know how to calm her down, and she felt like a terrible parent, and blah, 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 and called her a cockblock. And later, we're going to get to why she said that. Now that the order's dropped, I'm allowed to go back to the house. And I go back to the apartment. No, hold on. I get Persephone back. And that's all I'm caring about. I'm in tears. I'm crying. She gets handed back to me, and Persephone was so happy to see me. She was crying. Her Ariana's sister was holding her, and she was crying. And then I got there, and I was like, "Hey, hey!" And then she did this thing that she does, where when she's happy, she like doesn't want to show that she's happy, so she'll like do this like fake cry with like a smirk on her face. And I just started crying and picked her up and was like, "Hey, I told you I'd be back," and and put her in the car, and we went home. And I get home. As I said, I took a bunch of pictures of everything whenever I left on the 12th, and the fridge full of food, all bills paid up. We had $1,000 in the bank for rent. I paid electric when I was gone. I get back. There's liquor bottles everywhere. All of her juice boxes are beside the liquor bottles, clearly being used as chasers. This chair and this one were sitting outside on the porch being used as cigarette chairs, and literally have cigarette burns on them. And and dude is laying in my bed. The guy that my wife cheated on me with is laying in my bed, watching the TV that I mounted to the wall, with his socks and his clothes and my dressers, while my shit's in garbage bags. How would you have reacted? I'm lucky I have Persephone, because I was just so happy to see her again that I remained unfazed, because I can't give them any ammo, right? I can't beat his ass. I can't yell at him. I can't say mean things. I can't do anything. My hands are tied. But I was just so happy to see her again that enabled me to focus on the end game, to, as bad as I, just wanted to mouth off to both of them and whatever. I just went into my room. He was too much of a pussy to look me in the eye. No shocker there, even though he's twice my height. And then Ariana gets there, and she tries to convince me to let him be our new roommate, that we're just gonna be a happy little family now, and they'll stay in the other room. I can have the master bedroom, and we'll be roommates. We'll split rent 3 ways. When I got kicked out of the apartment, Ariana and him were both working at the same job. Apparently, during the 2 weeks I was gone, they quit. So I asked her where the $1,000 was. Where's the $1,000 that was for rent? Because we have a week and rent's due. Where is it? I spent it. On what? Alcohol. Dude, I've been an alcoholic, okay? I've been in the phase of life where you gotta chug a half pint when you wake up just to feel normal, okay? $1,000 on alcohol? You're telling me you spent all $1,000, and I came to find out that her boyfriend actually had a $600 check, so $1,600 gone, and you have nothing to show for it? What do you think that means? Think they were just buying alcohol? But I want to point out that means that my ex-wife was drunk the entire time that she had Persephone, and was using her juice box as chasers, and $700 worth of groceries that usually last a couple months were all fucking gone. Because they were too lazy to cook. They just ate all of Persephone's food. And I shit you not, this woman said to me, "Why did you not tell me it was for rent?" And made it my fault that she spent the $1,000 and now we don't have rent money. And that's exactly what I was worried about. But she knew. She knew that's what it was for. I mean, together, we barely made enough to get by. Obviously, we didn't have $1,000 to just blow. She knew what that money was for. She knew what she was doing. You know, you'd think if her new boyfriend cared about her that much that he would tell her to pay her bills, but whatever. Keep in mind, her boyfriend at this point is homeless. He was living in a hotel room, and now that he moved in here, he thinks this is where he lives now. And that first night, I said he needs to go. And she argued with me and threatened to get another protective order on me. And to which I was like, well, you would just look dumb for doing that at this point. Not to mention, I was going to kick your ass in court, and I think you and I both know that. So, you just admitted that Persephone was bad. You called her a cockblock, so whose best interest is it in to get a protective order for no reason other than I won't let your boyfriend that you cheated on me with stay in my apartment? And yes, I'm calling it mine since you've literally not been here the entire time, except for the last 2 weeks, and blew all the money. And ate all our food. Good for you. I told her I would give her the night, that I would take Persephone to my cousin's, where I've been staying for the last 2 weeks, and that he needed to come up with a plan to get the hell out of there, and that he was very lucky that I was giving him the night to stay there. And so that's what I did. I took Persephone to my cousin's. We had a great night there. And I get back the next day, no plan. He plans on living here. I called my lawyer and I asked, what do I do? This woman moved the dude that she cheated on me with into my house. I'm sure you can imagine why that's not good for Persephone to be around. What do I do? I don't have anywhere to go. You know, it's not really my problem that he doesn't. It's not my problem that he's 5 years older than me, doesn't have a relationship with his own kids, doesn't have a license, is on dope, and doesn't have a place to live. I could give a fuck less. So, what do I do? And my lawyer literally said, you just have to deal with it. You know, it's not against the law for her to have friends over, just like it's not against the law for you to have friends over. I'm like, you're right, but at the same time, it does clearly state in the lease that somebody cannot be here for over 10 days. And so our landlord found out about it and gave us a lease violation. And basically said either he needs to apply to be a tenant, get out, or you're all getting kicked out. And so I literally had to give up and say, okay, fine, you're applying. I'm not paying the $50 for your application. You can apply. Oh, but here comes the good news. He's a felon, as I've mentioned before, so he wouldn't pass the background check. So, kind of at a standstill. Kind of had no choice but for you to leave now. I shit you not. Ariana said to me, I just thought for 1 second that you would be civil. I can't believe you. I just wanted you to be civil. Apparently being civil is letting the guy that your wife cheated on you with being your roommate. That's civil. That's what being civil means. Okay, write that down. I wasn't having it. I said, okay, so he's not going to pass the background check, which means It's just he's got to go or we're all going to get kicked out. And I have fought too goddamn hard to get here. I have filled this all with stuff. I am not losing this apartment because you want to keep your boyfriend here because he doesn't have a place to live. That sounds like a whole lot of your problem, bro. Now, you don't have to leave. You're on the lease, and I hope you don't, I understand that it might make you uncomfortable for me to be here, but I can be in the other room. I just want you to be in Persephone's life. However, we can make that happen. And made it very, very clear that she did not have to go. That I don't even have the power to kick you out, even if I wanted to. And they both left. They both left and they went to go stay at his baby mama's house. Some Alabama shit, man. Some Alabama shit. Have fun explaining to your kids that the girl on your arm who's married is now your kid's new stepmom in the same room as their actual mother. And I could clearly see Persephone getting confused while he was here. Not, about who the dad was, but just about the entire situation, right? And so that's what bothered me the most and why I wanted him gone. She was clearly confused as to what was going on. Why is mom just hanging out in the room with this random guy? Why won't she come out? And it just wasn't doing anything for Persephone. Come to find out that cockblock comment, she actually went down to Eureka Springs and slept with another guy. I kid you not. She cheated on her new boyfriend already. Shocker. And took Persephone to do that. That's what she meant by she was a cockblock, because Persephone obviously didn't act good that night because she was at a stranger's house. Imagine that. Parenting 101. What a great mother. The guy that she slept with, I actually know of. Back when I was dating my high school sweetheart, whenever she was a year younger than me, so I dated her from 15 to 18, so she was 14 to 17, and, her best friend was actually seeing this guy, and this guy is 6 years older than me, so when he was 23, he was banging my high school sweetheart's best friend, who was 16, and he spent his entire 20s sleeping with high schoolers. He is about to have a baby with Ariana's sister, who is 19. I'm not joking. My ex-wife went to go bang a dude who is having a baby with her sister because they had relations before we actually met. And this dude spent his 20s banging teenagers. Oh, and here's the best part. He's been found guilty of rape. And she thought it would be a good idea to take my daughter over there. And then called her a cockblock because she didn't behave. So while we were here, the 2 nights that I had to deal with dude staying here, first of all, he didn't come out of the bedroom not once. Shit on the bottom of my shoe. She would go in there, hang out with her little boyfriend. She would come out here, talk to me, and then she would go out there on the deck and talk to the guy that she was messing around with in Eureka. He was literally dating her sister. I know what I'm saying right now sounds insane, but it's all fucking true, dude. Just picture that. Your ex-wife, you're in the process of divorcing anyway, in a room with a dude. You have to deal with him being in the same house. But that's not enough. No, now you got to see her go and call another guy. All while this dude's has no idea what she's doing. Of course not. I mean, So, the 2 weeks she had her, let's recap. She spent $1,600 on alcohol and drugs and stayed screwed up the entire time. Took her to a rapist's house and dude that did nothing but bang 16-year-olds and stayed the night there for a night or two. And ate all of her food and drank all of her juice. So now the $700 of groceries is all gone. All the diapers are gone. Everything for Persephone is gone. So now I have to max out my credit card to pay rent, to get diapers, to get groceries, because I was not on food stamps at the time. And left me with a week to figure out bills and a job. On the 24th, it was decided that we would trade off every Wednesday at noon here at this apartment. So she left, as I mentioned. They went to go stay at dude's baby mama's house, right? I do want to mention that I said in my last video that when I dropped Persephone off and had to hand her over to her mother, she got into a car with two guys. The guy she was seeing was in the back seat. The dude in the front was an old man looking like a tweaker. I think there were multiple people here, and I think they were doing dope. I'm sorry, but $1,600 in 2 weeks just going to booze and nothing to show for it doesn't add up. $1,600 worth of alcohol in 2 weeks. Nah, they were doing something. I can't prove it, but I actually think they were doing drugs here with Persephone. Anyway, she leaves, right? Her first Wednesday comes up. I text her, I say, hey, what's up? You gonna be here at noon? No, we're having car trouble. Well, obviously, your boyfriend doesn't have a car, so I can give you gas money, though, if you can find a ride, or I could come get you, or we could meet at the park, or anything, No, just excuse after excuse. Okay, now it's my week. Now it's her week again. Hey, are you coming? Are you gonna come see her? No, her baby, the baby mama they were staying with, his baby mama got into a car wreck. Okay, what does that have to do with you seeing your daughter? I can come get you. I'm sure maybe he has a friend. Surely he has one friend that has a car, right? Like, I could give you gas money. Excuses. She always had legal right to be in this apartment, even if I didn't want her to be. She's on the lease. Unless we both sign to get her off of it, she has the legal right to come to this apartment, and does all the way up until last month. Literally just now, this last month, she is just now not legally allowed here. This entire time, she could come here, she could show up any day, and I would have no say in it. But she was couch surfing, and she was texting me every day, guilting me that I need to come drop her off, blah, blah, where they happen to be staying that night, which I would not agree to. A, it's not my responsibility to drive an hour to where you are now. It's your responsibility to come see her. B, no. Why would I do that? You clearly are spun out. You clearly have no idea what you're doing, and you're couch surfing, and I can't make choices for you, dude. I want you to be in her life, but I'm not going to put Persephone in a dangerous situation to do that. Sorry. So they left all their stuff here. A lot of it's actually still here in the storage unit, which is awesome. That's one reason I haven't put the Christmas tree away, actually, is I really, don't have the room to put it back in the storage place, but that'll be a project. I would say 2 months go by, and we finally set something up where she was going to come over and she was going to get some of her stuff and she was going to see Persephone for a little bit. And then that fell through. And then I was just so irritated about all of her stuff being here and her canceling on Persephone so many times that I actually made the trip, an hour trip, to drop some stuff off to her, which I did not have to do. And so she could see Persephone for a minute. And I get to where she is, and I guess she's not at her boyfriend's baby mama's anymore. She's at this random dude's house. And I'm met by a drunk old man. Now, he's not being a mean drunk, but he's drunk nonetheless. Everybody is drunk. And I drop off things to Ariana, try to let her have her moment with Persephone. She literally asked me, can I take her to see Jared? Can I take her to see Jared? Yeah, I don't care about hiding his name. Screw it. And, like, he was working on a car. And my cousin was with me. I wanted him to come with me in case they tried anything stupid. Like, tried ganging up on me or whatever. And so he came with me. And, I said, yeah, I guess. I mean, Persephone isn't going to know who he is, but you keep trying to implement that. Sure, you can, whatever, go over there for 5 minutes. And they remained in view, you know. And then she came back over, and then me and Ariana she asked me if I was playing Fortnite and stuff. And then I heard Jerry over there mouthing off that Fortnite was for losers, that gaming is a waste of time. All I do is spend my time learning. So I put him in my phone as always learning because I'm one petty asshole. Because it's like, always learning, huh? Yet you haven't figured out how to get laid by a girl that isn't married. That's cool. Always learning, yet you don't have a relationship with your own kids. Always learning, yet you're homeless. Always learning, yet you don't have a car. Should I keep going, Mr. Always Learning? Also, way to insult your new girlfriend's hobbies because she was asking me about Fortnite because we used to play it together. So, that's gotta be fun. And of course, she did what I knew she was going to do, which is, can Persephone stay the night? Well, considering that everybody's drunk, and considering that you just told me that you're staying in a camper with no AC and it's 100 degrees out, no. But you're welcome to come see her anytime. And you have been for the last 2 months. The only reason you're seeing her right now is because I drove an hour and spent $10 to bring you stuff, which I didn't have to do. I don't owe you any kindness. I'm giving it to you because I want you to be in Persephone's life, but I can't make choices for you, dude. And by this point, the custody agreement is thrown out because you haven't seen her in a few months. So, no, I'm not leaving her here with a bunch of drunk people to be in a hot camper. What are you doing? And so, another couple weeks go by. And she moves, apparently her and Jerry use their tax refunds because she claimed Persephone on her taxes to get the hotel room, to go stay back at the hotel room that they were originally at, where she was cheating on me with. So now that she got a hotel room, in her mind, she's like, oh, I have a safe place to stay now. Now Persephone can come over. And so she started texting me every day, guilt-tripping me to come and drop Persephone off, to set something up, to which I tried. I tried setting stuff up at the park. I tried setting stuff up for her to come here. I tried setting up anything, man. But no, I was not going to drop Persephone off at this hotel. I just had a bad feeling. And it came out later that this entire time that she was guilting me to drop Persephone off over there, that her and Jerry were doing dope, as I kind of figured. And they were beating each other. See, Ariana made a comment whenever I came back to the house after court. She literally said, "He's a bitch. He doesn't put up with my anger like you do." To which I actually replied in his defense and said, did you ever think that maybe it's not your partner's responsibility to put up with your anger? Like, yeah, you've gotten so accustomed to me letting you beat on me and say whatever the fuck you want to me that now you really expect this guy to just put up with the same. Like, I hate to break it to you, but not a lot of men are going to show you the patience that I showed you. So, you keep wailing on him, eventually he's going to hit back. And apparently that's what happened. And so they were doing dope, and they were hitting each other, all the while she was sitting here trying to get me to drop Persephone off in that environment. Sorry, I had to get Persephone down, change her diaper, do some dad things. So yeah, she was trying to get me to drop Persephone off in that environment, and I actually got her to admit that on recording, because one day she would actually text me to come get her that it was an emergency. And unfortunately, Missouri is you got to get consent before recording state, so it holds no legal weight, even though it would just be a slam dunk, because I got her on recording to admit that they were doing drugs, that they were wailing on each other, and that she thought Persephone would be safe over there, that he wouldn't act that way if she was there. I know that sounds unbelievable, and like no human being on earth could be that dumb, but that is actual words said from her mouth. And when I did pick her up, it was very, very apparent she was high. And that just broke my heart. Because it's... this whole time, I just wanted her to be in Persephone's life. Yeah, I was mad at her for cheating on me. I was mad for the mental torture she put me through. Because you got to keep in mind, like, every night that she was texting me, I would have a panic attack. Because I thought if I said no or whatever, that she would go get another order, have me kicked out. Like, I was just expecting it any day. I could not sleep. I could not eat. This was the most stressful phase of my life. Because now I'm have Persephone. I have Uber, but I can't get to work because I can't sleep. And every time Ariana texts me, I'm having a full-blown panic attack because, like, that phone call just randomly telling me to give Persephone over stressed me out so much, you know? The fact that you can be innocent and kicked out of your own home and hand your child over to somebody that is clearly on drugs and has ill intentions. The fact that that happened just filled me with so much PTSD that I just expected it to happen again. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, and I lost 50 pounds. That's when I finally got prescribed Klonopin for sleep and started getting my ass to work. But the texting continued, the guilt trips continued to get her to drop her off over there, to drop her off over there, drop her off over there. And every time, it would just floor my day. I would just have a panic attack. And I just got to the point that I was like, dude, I can't help you. You're on dope. You're in an abusive environment. I can't make the right choice for you. I can't bring you out of this. Before, maybe. But now, I can't. You're going to have to help yourself. I'm not going to put Persephone in that environment. I can't even have you come over now if you're high. You know, like, now I'm guilty by association. Like, my lawyer literally said just to block her out. That it would be stupid to have her involved. So the second she came over and she was high, I basically had to take her back. But she wanted to go back because within 5 minutes of being here, she started talking about, oh, but Jerry did treat her so good. The reality is she started to realize she was going to come down. And despite my lawyer's advice, I begged her to stay. I said, look, dude, I know you're on drugs, but come down. I got hydroxyzine. You can take that when you start coming down. Go through it. I understand you don't want to be with me, and that's fine, but you need to be in your daughter's life. She needs you. Please, stay here. Please get off this. Get through this. Power through it. I will do whatever you need. Just get through it, because if I take you back over there, I'm done. I can't help you anymore. Now that I know you're on dope, I can't really be associated with you. I can't have you around. This is a disservice to Persephone. This is it. Either you need to tough it out, go through your withdrawals, and get better. Stay here until you can figure out a place to get on your own, or I'm done. And you need to leave me alone, because I'm having panic attacks every day you text me, and I gotta get to work. I got shit to do. You know, we just moved into this apartment together. We just signed up for all this shit on credit. You put me in such a shitty situation. I have to get to work, and I mentally can't, because you are texting me and stressing me out and guilting me when you know Persephone shouldn't be over there. So this is it. If I take you back over there, I can't help you. And that's what she wanted. She demanded that I take her back over there. And so I did. I did. And I didn't want to, especially knowing that they were sitting there beating on each other, but she forced my hand. Like, she texted him and called him, and he said he was going to come get her, and so it was either I drop her off or him come get her, and I didn't want to see his ass over here, and I told him that if he stepped foot in here, I was calling the cops at this point. Like, no, you're not coming to get her. I'll drop her off, I guess, you know, but I wanted to have a talk with her, and I just wanted to know why. Why did you do this? You know, if you weren't happy, you could have left. You never said anything. I did everything right. I trusted you. We built this together. You were my teammate. Why? But not only did you cheat on me, but you get me kicked out. You say these slanderous things about me that you know aren't true, all just to get your way. And then that ends up making Persephone sad. And then you force me to be in the same room with him. You mentally torture me for months, making me feel like I'm some piece of shit for not letting her over there. Why? Why would you leave this for a guy that can't even fucking drive? And she replied with, because it's what I deserve. And I think that's the only true sentence that she has ever said. And somehow, some way, she made me feel bad for her. Because she does genuinely think that she deserves a shitty man to treat her like shit, and that, when I met her, that's what she was used to, and the whole point is I wanted to show her how a woman should be treated. I wanted to show her that she wasn't just a piece of ass, and that she was more than that. And she has some great characteristics, and if she would shape up, I know she could be a great partner to somebody one day. But for whatever reason, it's like she is a responsible adult for a few years and then just snaps. And she doesn't want a good guy. She wants a deadbeat, and I don't get it. And I dropped her off, and I shit you not, 3 days later, Jerry texted me like he's my fucking master and told me to come get her. And he sent me a long text, which I was thinking about reading to you guys, but I'm not going to bother. Basically saying that everything that I warned him about was coming to fruition, and that he had no idea that he trusted her, and he's not a homewrecker. He's gotten cheated on too, and he would never do that. He waited until she said she was done. And so we were broken up before they ever did anything for the first time, and he never meant to get in the way, and he's just sorry, bro. He's sorry, bro. And I fucking lost it. This entire time, I had not been mean or aggressive to not give them any ammo. But at this point, I just fucking lost it on him. I said, first of all, I don't know what type of high school bullshit you think this is, but we're married. So waiting until we're broken up, how's that work? Do you think marriage is you just go, oh, hey, we're done now. You can fuck me now. That's how that works? No, we're still married. You're not a homewrecker, yet you were laying in my bed, helped her take my child away when I was guilty of nothing, blew all of our money, to where you literally almost got us kicked out of our apartment because you wouldn't even leave, but you're not a fucking homewrecker, huh? Mr. Always Learning. Fuck you. Fuck you, dude. You're not going to get out of taking responsibility for what you fucking did. Maybe keep it in your pants next time. No refunds. I am not your mediator of fights. I do not care. I have a little girl to take care of. And maybe, just maybe, you should think about your 2 fucking kids. Instead of, I don't know, getting some vulnerable woman to fuck you. And I just lost it, dude. And that was the last time I heard from them. For a month, 2 months. And then Ariana messaged me out of the blue. And we actually had a good conversation. She said that she wasn't talking to Jerry anymore. That she had a job and had her own camper next to her sister. And I don't want to talk about my in-laws, man. But her sister is on meth. Also dates a bunch of 30-year-old weirdos. So a camper with her sister doesn't necessarily mean she's clean. And I texted Jerry and kind of told him what a douchebag he was as a test, because he tattooed his name on her ass. Clearly, she was high as fuck when he did that. So I went off on him again and said, so that's your game, huh? You fuck married women or 16-year-olds. You can't get them off, so you got to get them addicted to meth so they keep coming back, and then you tattoo property of on them like you're fucking some edgy 12-year-old to make yourself feel like some sort of alpha, when in reality, they don't want you, man. And I sent them that because if they were truly done talking, he wouldn't message her. But that's immediately what he did. He went and texted her, which told me that she was lying when she said that they were done talking. And we actually talked about custody, and she sent me a nude. She sent me a nude and asked me if I missed her. And I gave her an honest answer. Well, since you have another dude's name tattooed to your ass, no, not really. And she agreed to give me full custody with no visitation rights. So if she ever decides to clean up her act, we can try to work something out. And she said, we'll talk more about this tomorrow. And I have not heard from her since. And that was 8 months ago. Oh yeah, and in Jerry's little text message, I shit you not, This man said it was disrespectful to him for Ariana to come over here and see Persephone. That it was disrespectful to him for my wife to come over here and see her daughter. I think she sent me a nude. We had a good conversation, and he saw that and broke her phone. But there's nothing I can do. I've tried reaching out, tried texting that number, and I haven't gotten anything back. I see on Facebook she keeps updating her profile pictures and making posts, but we both have each other blocked. But like, like my cousin messages me every now and then and lets me know that she's posting. So like, she's alive, she's not being held prisoner, but like, she just disappeared 8 months ago. September. I guess that would be 7, sorry. And I worry about her every day, and I miss her. I do. I shouldn't, but for some reason I do. She's the mother of my child. And we built this entire life together. We both met at our worst points in life, and somehow we both cleaned up our act. And we built all this together. And then when she left, I kind of realized that this is the first time that I've had my own apartment, my own shit. By myself. And I don't know what I'm doing, because the entire time I've been a responsible adult, I've had a teammate by my side, and now I'm just going at it alone, trying to figure it out. And I want her to be in my daughter's life, but she's such a piece of shit, she doesn't even care. I don't understand how anybody could be that heartless. Fuck what she did to me. What she did to me is horrible. But what she's doing to Persephone is even worse. All the way up to March, she could have came here any day, yet didn't. How much of that is Jerry controlling her and her just not caring? I don't know. But I can't force her to make the right decisions. Her parents, she's got a dad who's like 300 pounds and claims to be the biggest manly man of all and a super tough guy, yet I don't see him doing shit about this. Which is funny, because he threatened me all the time, even though I was really, really good to his daughter. But I just, stood up to him about shit. I wasn't okay with, the rapist I talked about being around. I wasn't okay with his other daughter that was a meth head, doing OnlyFans and had been divorced 4 times and lied, created a GoFundMe page and lied about having AIDS and shit like that. I wasn't okay with her being around Persephone, so he just thought I was this piece of shit trying to control who was in her life, when in reality, I think if you're doing meth and lying about having AIDS, yeah, you shouldn't be in a 3-year-old's life. Maybe you should be a parent to your girls and actually tell them to, I don't know, be an adult. A large part of why Ariana is the way she is because of her dad and her mother. Her mother was the same way she is, and her father just lets her do whatever the fuck she wants. Never tells her no. And they're just not good people. I mean, it's not just Ariana that hasn't bothered reaching out to Persephone for a year. None of them have. Not her sisters, not her parents, so Persephone's grandparents. Fuck them all. And that's it. That's my divorce, man. And I don't think I'm ever gonna date again. Not because, like, I learned a lot from this. I was a good husband. I figured out how to be a good partner. And in the past, I can honestly say that I wasn't. And I've learned a lot through her abuse on just how to be better and what I want out of a partner in the future. The problem is I don't want to introduce Persephone to somebody and then us break up 10 years down the road and Persephone have to deal with that emotional loss. Or us get together and we fight all the time. You know, my childhood was a revolving door of dudes being introduced to my life, and I don't want that to be Persephone's. And the chances of you meeting somebody and lasting forever are slim to none. It's definitely going to be slim to none if you never try to meet somebody, but I'm just scared of meeting someone, us being a good couple, and in 10 years breaking up and that devastating her. So, do I try to reach out and maybe meet somebody I could spend the rest of my life with? Or do I stay single so I don't risk hurting Persephone? That's where I've been. And that's why the date that I went on with the woman I talked about in the last video went. That's why I cut things off with her. She was sweet, she was cool, but I just didn't feel like I was mentally ready, and I didn't know how I felt about her meeting Persephone and shit. So I don't know. But I don't know. I love you guys. I appreciate you watching. I know these are hard watches, but that's it. And I just pray that anybody else out there that goes through something similar, I guess, always keep your kid in mind. Had I lost my shit at any point, I wouldn't have her. When I found out my wife was cheating, if I would have lost it, went to the hotel and lost it, if I would have came in and seen him laying in my bed and lost it, at any point, if I would have showed any aggression, she would be gone. And I guess the best advice I can give is always keep your child in mind, you know? If you know that your child is going to be in a shitty position, do what you have to do to get them. I love you guys. And y'all really have helped me get through this year. Because right around the time that she stopped talking to me is around the time I started making videos, and you guys really have helped me get through it and have listened and been encouraging, and I appreciate that. And all I care about is making this little girl happy and somehow making ends meet and making some friends on here along the way.